We can use law of sines to solve triangles that are not right triangles. If we have right triangles, we can use SOHCAHTOA. If it's not right, we have other options, and that is law of sines and law of cosines. Now, with the law of sines, you must have an angle and its opposite side and one other side or angle. For example, let's say we have a triangle, and let's draw the triangle. When you draw these triangles, you don't really need to worry about scale. Just draw them. Label your angles A, B, and C. Notice I use capital letters for angles. Side opposite these angles, right here across from angle A is little a, across from angle B is little b, and across from angle C is little c. Now, once you have a triangle, let's plug in what we know. So angle A is 35 degrees, and little a is 15, and little b is 7. Now this triangle is on your formula chart as well. Now the law of sines is also on your formula chart, and it is a ratio, one fraction equaling another fraction. So in order to use law of sines, you must have an angle and its opposite side and any other part of the triangle. So we have this right here. I call this an opposite pairing. And if you have that and one more piece of information, you can use law of sines. So we're going to start with A, side A and angle A. So the formula that we're going to use, and this is on your unit circle, not your unit circle, your formula chart, excuse me, is sine of A over A equals sine of. Now, we are going to use B because that's what we have a piece of information given to us on. So we're going to use sine of B over side B. Now let's plug in what we know. And so what we know is sine of 35 degrees over 15 equals sine of, and we do not know this angle, that's what we're going to look for, and side B is 7. So just like we have solved proportions in the past, we're going to cross multiply and divide. So we're going to multiply these two guys together, so we get 15 sine of B equals, and then we're going to multiply these two together, 7 sine 35 degrees. Now we're trying to find angle B, so we want to isolate it. So we're going to divide both sides by 15. And we end up with sine of B equals 7 sine of 35 degrees over 15. Okay, in order to find an angle, we have to kind of unhitch the angle from the sine function. You can't just divide by sine. You have to take the inverse. So in your calculator, to find angle B, you are going to put inverse sine of all of this. And so 7 sine of 35 degrees over 15, and then close that. So I'm going to pause a minute and go grab a calculator. Okay, I'm back. So in our calculator, we are going to, first of all, make sure you're in degree mode, and we are. And then we are going to hit second sine. That's going to give us our inverse. We'll put in 7 sine of 35. Make sure you close that parenthesis, and then divide by 15, and then close the inverse parenthesis and hit enter. And that's going to give you how much angle B is equal to. So 15.5 degrees. So angle B equals 15.5 degrees. Now, once we have angle B, We have angle A, we have angle B. What do we do to find angle C? Well, a whole triangle adds up to 180 degrees. So we can say 180 minus 15.5 degrees minus 35 degrees is going to equal angle C. All right, let's do that in our calculator as well. So 180 minus 15.5 minus 35, and that gives us 129.5 degrees. 129.5 degrees. So we know all of our angles. This one is right here is 129.5 degrees. Notice it's not to scale, but I don't worry about that. And this angle right here is 15.5 degrees. Well, what's the last piece we're missing? That's side C. So let's use law of sines again to find side C. So I'm going to use the sine of A over little a because that was given in my problem. And this time I'm going to pair it with sine of C over little c. Plug in what you know. So this is, let's just stay with red. Sine of 35 degrees over 15 equals sine of 129.5 over c. So let's cross multiply and divide here, just like we did before. And so we end up with 15 sine of 129.5 degrees equals c times the sine of 35 degrees. Divide both sides by sine of 35 degrees. And let's go to our calculator. We can see that C equals 15 sine 129.5 divided by sine 35. And so C equals 20.18. And now we have solved the entire triangle using law of sines.